Colby and Gale, your locally owned full-service heating oil company. With 24-hour round-the-clock service from homes to business. Colby and Gale celebrating 75 years of service to Mid-Coast Maine. Heating oil, propane, service, installation, and much, much more. Colby and Gale, your one-stop shop for all your heating needs. Rennie's, a Maine adventure. Quality merchandise, great values, and a truly unique shopping experience with 17 store locations here in Maine. It's been said, if Rennie's doesn't have it, I don't need it. You'll never know what you'll find at one of their stores. Rennie's, a Maine adventure.
Nowhere to go but up. I've got nothing to do but smile. I've got nothing to do but smile.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Hagan, and I'm with the Damariscotta Region Chamber of Commerce, and I'm your host today on Chamber Chat. I'm in the beautiful offices of Reed Family Insurance Advisors in Damariscotta. And joining me today is its founder, Nate Reed. Good morning.
Good morning, Lisa. How are you?
Good.
Wonderful.
Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And it's definitely fall because look at, we're in sweatshirts and vests. So I think
it was a little brisk this morning.
I think it was like 50, 55.
Yeah, it was a little cool.
So I think fall is definitely, showing its face.
It is. The
early.
leaves are starting to change.
Yeah.
It's approaching. The pumpkins are out.
Exactly.
It's time to start making the shift to fall.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
So I thought we could start with, what is your story? What is your background that led to where we are today?
Okay, so Lisa, I actually started in the yacht industry. Believe it or not, I used to work on yachts all up and down the coast. So I started in Kittery Point, found my way to Harpswell, wanting to move closer to home. Born and raised in Waldoboro. Okay. And went to Madomic High School. And from there, I wanted to start a career. And one of the things that I had been doing most of my life was working around boats. So I decided to get into the yacht industry. Spent 4 years in Kittery Point, 4 years in Harpswell, working on boats, painting them, and then decided, I need to do more. I think that everybody's called to help and to serve someone or a community, whatever it may be that you're called to doing. And so I gave up the yacht industry and found a way of being able to help people in insurance. I had a couple people that were sort of mentors in my life at the time that were leading me in this direction. And I decided to sell my house, drop my career, and I just wanted to help people. So I founded Reed Family Insurance after being in the industry for a short period of time, about 3 years. I decided that it was time to branch out onto my own and start serving Damariscotta.
Wow, that's an interesting background.
Yeah, so from yachts to insurance, it was a little bit of a jump, but it was needed.
Are you still a boater?
Yes, I boat with my family on a regular basis. I fish out of South Bristol in the Damariscotta River, so I'm on the water quite a bit.
Okay, nice.
Any chance I can get.
So it's a nice balance, actually, right?
It is. It really is. Being able to help people and then clear your mind on the water is a big deal. Being able to do that.
So you founded Reed Family Insurance Advisors. Was it a couple years ago, or?
So we made the decision I made the decision to start Reed Family Insurance Advisors in probably late December, early December of last year, and then we actually opened the office in late February, early March of this year. So it's fairly new with respects of this office and the agency itself. But as far as the background and the credentials and things of that nature, it's been in the works for a while. But we decided, as a family, because I have my mom as an advisor here, wanting to, be together because of COVID. Right. With all the realities of COVID and what it brings, spending time with your family and others is really important to us. So being able to cultivate an atmosphere where we can be a family and help people. And what are our credentials as a family, and how do we approach this?
Right.
We landed on well, Medicare being one of them, but in the insurance side of things, because of my background in the early time of my career in insurance, I wanted to really focus on helping people. And then you bring in the family aspect with my mom being on my team. She's got over 25 years of experience in geriatric nursing. So
oh my goodness.
it was a natural fit to being able to, how do we help these people? Who do we help? Where's our, where do we fit in serving a community? And this is where we landed.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
This is wonderful.
Thank you. It's been a big jump. It was, a jump of faith, and you, when you decide to do something, you fully commit and you let the leading happen, and it just naturally, everything just fell into place. It was very
nice,
non-abrasive.
So when you started the business, what really was your vision?
So I wanted to be able to take something that was very confusing, whether it be, what line of insurance that we're working with, but to take a complex subject and to get it to a point of understanding. That was the goal.
Okay.
We see, especially in the senior realm, people can be taken advantage of very easily. So what we wanted to do was create a trustworthy organization or an agency that people know and trust. When they see our logo or they walk into our office, there's an automatic letdown. There's this trust factor that can happen. So whether it be the fact that there's a nurse, whether it be a fellow person in the community, we don't want this big giant name of whatever it may be, so you lose that personal touch.
Yeah.
But the whole goal is to really just connect with people and offer this service that they trust, because it's so confusing to get through it.
It is. It's very difficult to navigate it.
It is.
And not all seniors have computers. And
we
that's
find that
another
quite a bit.
problem.
Between a computer and a cell phone. Most people have a cell phone, but not everybody does, or they don't carry it with them. So getting on and getting the information, it's not like you can go down to, it's hard enough to get down to the local library as it is.
Absolutely.
But, to get this information and then sift through it, it's really written, when you look at the language that all this information that consumers are receiving is not necessarily as easily understandable as you would think. So you take something that's complex and then you throw the language in there with it, and then the amount of comprehension that you can absorb in one sitting, it takes a long time to work through this. So you really have to start preparing long in advance, or you align yourself with someone that you can trust that has already gone before you and done all of this work, and then can present it to you in an understanding way of being able to sift through it. And here's the high points. This is what you need to know. If you want to get down to the valleys and you really want to get into the nitty gritty, we can do that.
Right.
But here is what you need to know. I've taken, and this is what I tell people, is I take that half-inch booklet and I condense it into 10 pages.
Oh my goodness.
So you don't have to do that work. We've already gone before you and done this work. So creating the relationship with somebody so they can understand where you're at with them and how you're trying to help them. And then once you create that trust factor, then we can give you the high points, or then you give you the information, and you understand that I don't need to necessarily sift through all this. I know they're only a phone call away. I know that they'll be there for me. I can stop into their office, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
It's trying to create this ease of use, or ease of being able to consume this, and being able to get through it and know that you have someone to call.
And also being a predominantly senior community, you know that there's such a need for what you provide.
There is. Lincoln County is is the oldest county in the state, and Damariscotta being the capital of that, in my opinion. We've tried to position ourselves to how do we help the most people within a small reach. Although we go across the whole state, I live in Noblesboro, so it's a short distance. My mother lives in Alna, so it's a short distance. Right. We wanted to serve Lincoln County, and that being, the heart of Damariscotta, or Damariscotta being the heart of Lincoln County, in my opinion. We found that this was probably the best place to start with helping people. And like you said, there's a growing demographic of older people or retirees that are coming into the state because it's so desirable to be here.
Absolutely.
Getting that education, someone moves in, well, everything changes when you move.
Yeah.
What do we do? How do we navigate through this?
Right.
So just offering a service for that.
Great.
Yeah.
So let's get into the different services that you provide, the different areas of expertise. Talk to me about those areas.
So our office has taken more of a holistic approach. We have a financial advisor, Oliver Investments, Jake Oliver. He's a great guy. So we wanted to take the approach of when someone's coming into retirement, or where someone is aging into what the aspects are of retirement, or as we into our golden years. We wanted to take the holistic approach. So when someone basically retires, they can come into our office and we can help them with retirement planning. We can help them with the Medicare aspect, which usually health insurance is the first thing that people want to think of,
Right.
because most people are keeping their jobs just for their health insurance.
Exactly.
I can't retire because I need the health insurance, or my spouse needs the health insurance. So trying to navigate that aspect first. So we really concentrate on the health insurance side of things. So Medicare is a big focus of the office, being able to help individuals understand when and how and what the benefits are of Medicare, and when to enroll. And then individuals that maybe they have some children that are still on their policies, or they've just lost their job and they're 62, they want to get to 65 for Medicare. What do I do in the middle? We offer marketplace assistance. So someone that needs individual health care, we can offer that to them.
Oh, wow.
And then again, on that holistic approach, we also offer long-term care insurance. What is one thing that everybody wants to do as they age? We want to stay home. Right? So how do we stay
Absolutely.
home longer? How do we prepare for that? So we've uniquely positioned ourselves to being able to offer not only Medicare health insurance and retirement planning, but also this long-term care piece, which the education for long-term care is just, it's not out there as well as
It's
it
not.
really should be. There's really a small demographic that know about long-term care. And usually by the time they get to me at 65, they're asking, what about long-term care? And at that point, we really should have started the education at 45 to 50.
Long time ago, yes.
So it's the need for education out there on all these different areas that we can help with is really great. So being able to bring this to the community is a big thing.
So let's start with Medicare. So at what age should somebody reach out to you to start getting information, before their 65th birthday, obviously?
Right.
So what do you recommend?
So there's a couple different ways that you can become eligible for Medicare. There are individuals that have Social Security disability. They have an illness or something that's created they are now on disability, and they can, for 24 months, then they qualify for Medicare. So just because Medicare is not necessarily old people insurance, some people think of it that way.
Right.
There's a whole vast amount of people that are on Medicare. So someone who's on Social Security disability 24 months after that mark, they'll have the opportunity to reach out to us. But for the majority of the people that we work with that are turning 65, I like to start talking to people 6 months before.
Okay.
Now, with Medicare, you can start to enroll 3 months before, but the amount of mail and information and just you are inundated with everything 6 months before your 65th birthday.
Okay.
That's when the questions start. Why am I all of a sudden feeling like everybody's coming out of the woodworks and I am now this important person and everybody's
Right.
mailing me everything and I have just emails and phone calls and just tons of stuff coming at me? So I like to start with people 6 months before. I like to get them educated and thinking about it. Because it's such a complex subject, to do everything in one meeting is really difficult. The whole goal is to get you educated to a point where you can make the decision on your own
Right.
with our guidance. So we want to get you to a point where you feel comfortable enough to say, this is the reason why I chose this avenue. Or I know I'm signing up at this time because of this reason, because I want to be proactive. I want everything to start at this time. Or, if they're turning 65 and they still want to keep working, do I sign up for A and B? Do I still contribute to my HSA? When are these penalties that I hear about? There are penalties if you don't sign up when you're eligible or if you're supposed to, if you don't have credible coverage. So all this language starts coming out, and it's confusing. Not everybody
overwhelming,
speaks it.
confusing.
Yeah. It can be very overwhelming.
So when you think about, what are the most common questions and concerns that people have before turning 65 and going on Medicare?
Coverage and cost are the two things that I hear every single first meeting that I have with people. What's it going to cost me and what kind of coverage am I going to get? How do I pay for it? So those are the two big things that we always answer in the first meeting. So I would say that after that, it's do I need this? Is this something that I need? If I don't take medications, do I need Part D? If there's a lot of different things that can come up.
And every situation is unique.
So, everybody, and one of the things that I've always said is every person is different, so it makes sense that your health insurance should be different. Your needs today are going to be different next year, are going to be different in a month. So keeping in contact with an advisor or having someone, and we always tell everyone, if you don't work with us, work with someone. It's so important to work with someone that you trust, whether it be us or someone else. Work with someone that you trust. So if you have someone that you can trust and you meet on an annual basis with, I just had this diagnosis, what do I do now? Or I thought that this was all covered. What do I do? How do what about long-term care? Dad's getting older or mom's getting older. Their health insurance, is that going to cover long-term care? Well, that's a conversation that we need to have. If you have a certain diagnosis, this is the insurance that you're currently using, is that going to cover it as well as maybe another insurance may? Can I get that insurance if I have an illness? So there's a lot of different things that come up, but I always encourage everyone on an annual basis, you should be looking at your insurance based upon your, I call them health factors. Is everything still, can we set it and forget it for the next year? Most people, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but not for everybody.
Don't settle. Just because you pick it first does not mean that you need to settle for that ongoing.
Okay.
And it's a 5-minute conversation. Does it make sense for me to keep this type of coverage? Does it not? Am I overpaying? We can do like a policy x-ray, as I like to call it. We can come in and sit down with you and we can talk about your current policy and benefits that you have and make sure it's the right fit for you. It doesn't cost anything. It never costs anything to work with us. So it's just a phone call. Just pick up the phone and ask.
Wow.
Be that community resource is our goal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So then let's move on to health insurance. So there's a lot of people that don't have health insurance, and that's a huge concern. And there's others that have it, different levels and quality of health insurance. So let's focus on that.
So when it comes to the health insurance side of things, we find that there are a lot of employers now that aren't necessarily offering that as a benefit. There are a lot of good employers out there that do, but not everybody is. And what do we have mostly here in Maine? We have seasonal work.
Right.
So if someone is working seasonally and they're part-time, they don't always get that benefit. And they may have kiddos at home that have some sort of care that they need.
Right.
So what we like to do is we love to work with families when it comes to this on the health insurance side of things. If you currently have an employer that offers it, because of the regulations, we work primarily with the marketplace. So again, taking an organization and getting it to a point of understanding. Joan does a very good job with people and finding out what their income is, and there may be a subsidy there for you. And when we think of some subsidy, don't think of it as low income and I don't want this, I don't want the help, I don't whatever it may be. It's there and designed because the way the market is right now with health insurance. Even though you may have 2 or 3 children and you have 2 adults that are in the family that are both earning an income, there very well may be some level of help out there, because as you know, a few years ago, it was astronomical to go on the marketplace and look for health insurance. So people were just going without. So with the current administration and the subsidies that are out there for individuals, don't look at it as something that's discriminatory. Look at it as this is now in place to be able to make this affordable for people, because the healthcare industry is really heading towards preventative, and that's really the goal. Is to, if you can at least get your physical and preventative for females. I mean, the cancer side of things is very real.
Right.
There's a lot of people that are out there, so early detection on a lot of things. Preventative. That's really what they're trying to nail home.
And it costs less if you do the preventative.
It does, absolutely.
Right?
So long term, initially it may, everybody's going to get their primary care doctor, their once a year visit taken care of. That's sort of the key thing that most people want. They get their, flu shot, whatever it may be, all that preventative stuff. But it's also something to fall back on. if you will prolong an injury or prolong an illness, it's going to cost you more in the long run because you've now put it off. But if it would cost you, a little bit of, whatever it may be on your monthly premium to be able to have access to these doctors versus going on a payment plan with the hospital, to be able to get this coverage, you're going to be able to live healthier and longer. You're not gonna second guess it. If it's a $25 visit to the primary care doctor, that's worth it. Versus,
absolutely.
Oh man, how am I going to come up with this? I've got to miss work. It's now going to take me a week to get back into this. So it's really just a matter of trying to find something that's going to help people at least get their preventative side of things.
Okay. Yep.
So it's very important
Good
to
advice.
stay up on that. And we can educate people and give them pointers or assistant programs or whatever it may be to help get them to a point where they can at least get insurance.
Okay.
So no matter what, just call and we'll try and figure out an avenue within the community resources that we have, and also the importance of having health insurance. It's one of those things. We wouldn't drive our vehicle down the road without car insurance.
Right.
That
exactly.
most people. So why do we go without health insurance?
Right.
So
right.
it's a big thing. It's a good topic to talk about with people. I think that it's very important to have, especially when you have kids, just to be able to get those preventative items taken care of.
Great. Great input. So long-term care insurance, there's not a lot of people I find in my journey that know much about it. And I don't know why, but so talk to me about who should be investing in long-term healthcare insurance.
So the big thing about long-term care insurance is I think that it's gotten a bad stigma previously, probably 15, 20 years ago. But now I think the education of it is just not there. So trying to get the education out to people, and really when you should start thinking about long-term care insurance is usually when your life insurance, your term life insurance is kind of coming up because the kids are getting out of the house. Now is the next step to start planning towards retirement. You're in your mid-40s, early 50s. That's really the time. Mid-40s is the time to be thinking about it. Now, if you're in your mid-40s, the last thing you're going to be thinking about is long down the road. Right. But your 40 years old, your 65-year-old self or 80-year-old self is going to be thanking your 40-year-old self for looking into this and getting the education portion of it. And like I said, the whole goal is to stay home longer. Well, if you had a loved one that was willing to take care of you, that's a huge thing, but not everybody has that.
Right.
Or being able to help compensate that loved one for the sacrifice that they've made to being able to come into your home and keep you there longer.
Right.
How good would it feel to have a grandchild or someone of the family cooking a meal in your home as you age, and that not only are you taken care of in your home, they're taken care of because, yes, they're doing it because they love you, but there's also the factor of being able to, I'm going to miss work, but I really want to spend this time with my grandparent or with my great-grandparent. I have a 94-year-old grandmother that lives at home by herself, and she's able to do that because of her health, but also because she has the ability of having others come into her life and help take care of her. So it's so important to think long term. I know that as Americans we can be kind of short-sighted,
right.
But thinking long term with our aging, because statistically Americans are aging longer. We may be aging longer, but our bodies aren't necessarily keeping up with that. So that care that we need is really, where do you want this? Where do you foresee yourself spending your last years? And how do I help pay for that? Not everybody has the retirement maybe saved up, or they don't want to go to a specific facility. They want to go somewhere special. My mom always says, I don't care where I go as long as I have a personal chef, or if I can
Absolutely.
eat good. So what's important to you is really the driving factor of getting this long-term care insurance, and a lot of it is just planning. It's really planning on what you want to be able to achieve.
So the different areas of service advising that you provide, how do people work with you? Do they just call you? Do they come in? So just briefly tell me about how somebody can work with you.
So I love it when people just drop into the office. I absolutely love it. You know, they're going to come in and they're going to walk in and they're going to feel very welcomed. That's the goal anyway. We've set up this office to feel like a home. You know, when you walk in, it's a very easy atmosphere to just get to know someone. So I love it when people drop in. Obviously the phone number is on the sign, but it's 563-1990. I tried to make it very easy for people. You can call, you can go on our website. We've tried to make it very easy for those tech-savvy people to schedule appointments, to get to know us. We're going to be uploading some videos on the website soon so you can get to know who we are.
Nice.
We're very family-oriented. So, you know, any way that you would go see a family member, that's sort of the approach that we want to take. So come on in and stop right in.
Awesome.
Just open, the door's always open, that sort of mentality. But yeah, we've tried to make it available for people to not only walk in, but also COVID friendly, where we can do virtual appointments. We're hopefully going to have some online teaching on the website so people can go in and get educated on that. But really, we like to sit across the table from people to get to know them.
Nice. And so before we wrap up, I understand, talk a little bit about the seminars, just how people can learn about those.
So we want to be so there's an enrollment period for Medicare. Medicare being the big topic in the fall, October 15th to December 7th. We want to be the Medicare Resource Center. So what we're going to be doing this year is we're going to have an hour block that's going to be for Medicare education. So we want to do educational seminars to get people thinking, whether they've been on Medicare or they're getting ready to come onto Medicare, am I in the right policy? And there's really two major avenues that you can go. So the education that we're going to be providing in that hour is high points of what are the two areas that a lot of people are in on Medicare, and what are the sort of benefits and positives and negatives of each side of things.
Right.
So that's what we're really honing in and focusing on during the fall, and we'd love to have people call an RSVP because of we're going to be doing it here in the office, and we have to keep meetings sort of small.
Right.
So calling and reserving your spot would be the best way to do it. We may have it online. We haven't quite committed to that yet because we love meeting people in person, creating that connection and relationship.
Kind of a wait and see now because of COVID.
Yeah, wait and see on that. But we will definitely be hosting seminars Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 to 11, and then 6 to 7. So trying to hit all those different areas for people of being available for them.
So this has been really helpful. Is there any last minute message that you want to leave people with before we sign off?
So I guess the one thing that we find is a barrier with a lot of people is the cost. What does it cost to work with you? This all sounds wonderful. It all sounds great. I'd love to see how this is. What is the cost? We are compensated by insurance companies, so our clients, the people that we work with, never have to worry about that. There is never money exchanged in this office.
Okay.
So don't hesitate to contact us. It's never going to cost you anything to just get the information.
So that is peace of mind right there. So
absolutely.
Come on in and learn what you can.
Yeah,
so.
We're here to help. We're here to serve in any way that we can. And you don't have to worry about the cost. Don't let that be the barrier of getting the education.
Great. Well, thank you, Nate. This has been so helpful, and I can't wait to get this message out. Yeah. I think it's very important for people to know that you're here as a resource and can help them. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa. It's been great.
This is Lisa Hagen, and I'm signing off from Chamber Chat.
Colby & Gale, your locally owned full-service heating oil company with 24-hour round-the-clock service from homes to business. Colby & Gale celebrating 75 years of service to Mid-Coast Maine. Heating oil, propane, service, installation, and much, much more. Colby & Gale, your one-stop shop for all your heating needs. Rennie's, a Maine adventure. quality merchandise, great values, and a truly unique shopping experience with 17 store locations here in Maine. It's been said, if Rennie's doesn't have it, I don't need it. You'll never know what you'll find at one of their stores. Rennie's, a Maine adventure.